Hello, I'm Don Peppers, and I'd like you to think about something. How do you tell whether your customers are satisfied or not? How would you know when your customer experience is flawed or when something goes wrong with it here and there? Well, the most common tool for understanding the quality of your customer experience is a voice of customer survey, a VOC survey that asks customers to assign a score to their own customer satisfaction so that you can calculate your NPS maybe or some other quantitative gauge of customer experience. But asking customers to answer questions using surveys does have some limitations. Some customers may not give you their honest opinions, for instance, while others may not want to go to all the trouble of completing your survey at all. And the result would be that your survey analysis would suffer from selection bias. And if a high score is your company's goal, then someone somewhere involved in administering your survey might even be gaming the system in some way to help achieve that goal. Now, if any of these problems were to occur, how would you even find out, other than by doing yet more surveys? Well, at oCX, my colleagues have developed and refined an AI-based mechanism for calculating your NPS or CSAT or your employee satisfaction level or virtually any opinion-based numerical score without having to run a survey at all. You see, at oCX, we scan the web for all discernible customer signals, any mention of your brand. And this would include reviews, complaints, social media posts, online chat, even your customers' direct mail communications when they can be uploaded. Next, we analyze the text and context of each different customer's mention of your brand to determine its emotional content, its level of gratefulness, anger, puzzlement, and so forth. And from this analysis, we infer a quantitative as-if score. What NPS score would this customer have chosen if a survey had in fact been conducted and the customer had in fact been asked? We call this AI-based score oCX, which stands for Observational Customer Experience, because it's not based on asking the customer what they think, but simply observing what they think, based on the way the customer has already discussed or commented on your brand in the wild, so to speak. Of course, the online comments that customers make and the product or service reviews they provide often don't even have formal numerical scores associated with them, so oCX is calculated by quantifying all this unstructured feedback regardless of where it's found. We do this by training our AI tool to compare and contrast all this unstructured data with a massive database of survey-scored comments and data. And while the oCX that we infer for each customer is directly comparable to the NPS score that this customer's comments indicate they would have rendered in an actual survey, we can easily convert oCX to other scales when our client prefers, other than NPS 0 to 10 score. In other words, we could infer from a customer's comment the CSAT 1 to 5 score they would have rendered, and so forth. The observational feedback provided by oCX allows you to learn what your customers are truly thinking with no statistical bias and no risk of survey error. What this means? oCX can give you the power to check the accuracy of any NPS or CSAT surveys you currently use, or even to save time and expense by discontinuing the surveys altogether. Compare your oCX to your primary competitor's oCX. You can quickly identify where your own strengths and weaknesses are and with which particular competitors. Analyze the oCX of your retailer distributor partners to improve your sell-through or to upgrade your distribution strategy by emphasizing those partners with a better oCX. Or you can even compare your oCX to the attitude of the population at large, normalizing your score over time to avoid the ups and downs and mood changes of consumer sentiment caused by economic or other factors. oCX from oCX. Use it if you want to know what your customers are truly thinking about the quality of your customer experience.